Hello, everyone. My name is Sonia, and I'm the host of Exquisite Taste Knowledge Power Hour. Understand, when you pick up a pen and paper and you apply your knowledge, that's when it becomes power. So today, y'all, we got a special guest on, and I am super excited. His name is Lonnie Allen. He's been in the game of financial area for over 20 years, and also he's been in the business world. He is a member of the Kappa Alpha Phi Fraternity Incorporation. He is the executive director of National Faith Homebuyers, the Atlanta office, and he has a passion for the minority community. We are having him on because he's going to tell us how this game of life, when you want to own a home, how it can be achievable. Lonnie, are you there?
Hey, I'm here. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. How you been doing?
For an old man, I can't complain.
You know, only thing get old is clothes. I have to tell you
Hey, wash them, dry them, put them back on.
that part. That part. So, Lonnie, tell everyone who you work for.
The wonderful company I work for is called National Faith Home Buyers. And National Faith Home Buyers, we're a HUD certified counseling agency. We've been around a little over 27 years. And our main objective is to help as many people as possible who want to get into a home, help them get into a home.
Okay. So y'all hear that? He said they're here to help. So I need y'all to help as well. I need you to follow, like, and share because sharing is caring. Share this with everyone because he's going to give us the deets. He's going to tell us how his company can help us for those who are looking to own a home or just might need some education on a home. So share this with everybody you know, especially in the Atlanta area. And by the way, I know I'm jumping ahead. If you in Detroit too, share it because you can still go in and look at this. Okay. Okay. Lonnie, tell them more about the company.
All right, well, the company actually started in 1996 in Detroit, Michigan, actually. And that's where the headquarters is now. The founder, her name is Dina Harris. And Dina's been around this game for over 4 decades. And I've known Dina for over 15 years. And so we opened up an Atlanta office about 3 years ago. And we're in the process now of opening up a Tampa, Florida office.
Oh,
So those three areas there where we're actually licensed, not only can we teach the classes, but we can also counsel as well in those three areas. Been doing it for a long time. We probably helped over 15,000 families during this time achieve their goal of home ownership.
oh, that's amazing. So when you got in this arena, what made you want to come and work for um, the national um, the national faith home buyers?
Well, I've been in the financial services space for, like you said earlier, over 2 decades. I've done everything but be a real estate agent.
Hmm.
And I've known Dina for about 15 years. And so when Dina and I last talked, she just asked me would I help run the Atlanta office based on my contacts and relationships. And over the years, I've been able to achieve that goal of having some very high level decision making relationships in the financial services arena. Plus, she wanted me to help her get the word out in the Atlanta market because Detroit, everyone knows National Faith in Detroit. And now more people are finding out about National Faith, the Atlanta office, and what we do here. So when she asked me to come and help her, I jumped at it because that's one of my passions. Because I bought my first house when I was 29. That was a few years back, and I've had several homes since then, and I know what it's like to get that first house. And I'm literally, it's the fear of the unknown. And because of that fear of the unknown, I didn't really have anyone to hold my hand and walk me through the process. Well, National Faith will hold your hand and walk you through the process. And it helps to eliminate that fear and all those anxieties that you would get in that first home ownership space Well,
Hmm.
that's what National Faith is here to do is help you navigate that process to help remove as much of that fear as possible. So that's really what attracted me to this because I know the passion behind what National Faith does.
Okay. So when with Dina, I did remember reading that, she's been in a place where, all of this took place for her to build and construct this company. So why come to Atlanta?
Well, because Atlanta, that's a market that it's I wouldn't say it's untapped,
Mm-hmm.
but she saw an opportunity here, and then our banking partners are also here. We have quite a few banking partnerships here, and they ask us really to come and set up shop, um,
Okay.
and we did that April of 2019.
Okay.
So the name National Faith in the Atlanta market has been growing. And again, it's my job is to help navigate and grow that process. And that's why I'm so glad when you reached out to us to
Hmm.
ask would we come and do this podcast. Oh man, we just jumped on it so we can get the word out.
Thank you. And that's what we're going to do. That's why I keep telling everybody share, share, share. So more people can see this and more people can come in because y'all host classes, right?
We do. And let me tell you, our classes just open up for June the 24th. Our classes just open up now. So it's first come, first serve, and then they're all virtual. And our classes, it's from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Excuse me, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. It's on a Saturday.
Hmm.
But the classes that we host, we bring in the subject matter experts to actually teach the class. We
Okay.
host the class, but we'll bring in a mortgage loan officer. We'll bring in a title company. We'll bring in a real estate agent. We'll bring in sometimes an underwriter. All those people that you will need and you will run into, including a home inspector, that will help navigate that process. We bring in the subject matter experts and let them teach their lane, what they do to help you achieve that goal. So you get it from the expert's mouth in their arena. So it allows you to get all the information that you need. And then what we do is we help package all of that
Hmm.
and get you ready for the counselor once that class is over. And it's a HUD certified class. So once the class is completed, you'll get what we call a certificate of completion.
Hmm.
And that certificate of completion is good for 1 year.
And what is it good for? Because when you told me that before, I was like, okay, I don't know what that is. So.
So what a certificate of completion is, and because we're HUD certified, depending on the loan product your mortgage lender may put you under once you go to them for a mortgage, they
Hmm.
may have a loan product that says it may be an FHA loan. And FHA may say, okay, based on this FHA product that we're going to put you under to get you a mortgage, it requires you to have a certificate of completion from a HUD certified counselor saying you've gone through a workshop
Hmm.
for 4 hours and you completed that program, which qualifies you to receive the certificate of completion to put in that mortgage file.
Hmm.
And so what it does is it tells that lender that you know more about the loan process than you would have if you've not gone through that class. They just want to make sure you understand the process and that you're not coming to them too green.
Okay. Okay. Well, that's a good one. So that means it empowers them in order for them to understand their financial responsibilities.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. So when navigating through your system, what if let's say they come in and their credit score is not where it's supposed to be, but they still want to take the course. Do you allow them to take the course, or is there other steps that have to be taken in order to get them where they need to be?
And actually, that class, that home buying workshop class, is step number one.
Okay.
So once you complete that class, what will happen is after that class, within the next couple of days after the class is completed on that Saturday, a counselor will reach out to you because you'll be assigned to a counselor. And
Hmm.
that counselor at that point will reach out to you and they'll ask you certain questions relative to moving forward in the program. And by the way, we don't have a charge for the program. We don't
Yes,
even
that was
charge you
the
to put your
question that
credit. There's
came up.
no charge for the class. All we want you to do is be committed to the commitment.
Hmm.
Because let's say, for instance, a person comes to the class, they take the class, then they are assigned a counselor.
Mm-hmm.
And then that counselor at that point will pull their credit.
Mm-hmm.
Once that credit is pulled, then they can make the determination. Your credit may be such that you may need a little help or you may need a lot of help. But we won't know that until after we pull the credit. But after we do that, then we'll start you on the process of, of putting together all the steps that you will need as an individual to get you prepared for that home. And we'll help you with the budgeting. We'll go with the financial literacy piece of it, everything that you'll need to get you prepped. So depending on your situation, you could have a credit score for a bank to give you a loan in 6 months, maybe 2 months, or maybe 2 years. It really just depends on how bad your credit is once we pull it, and how much work you're committed to working with us and helping you clean up your credit.
Okay. And the process depends on how you maneuver yourself through it in order to get it done. Lois
Absolutely.
is asking, what is what is the credit score to get a house?
Well, I mean, that kind of varies. Let me just say this: the higher the credit score, because credit scores range from 300 to 800. So
Mm-hmm.
the higher the credit score, the lower the risk you are to a bank.
Mm-hmm.
The lower your credit score, the higher you are a risk to the bank, which means you're going to have a higher interest rate. So let's say, for instance, FHA has a program that says you can get into a house with a 620 credit score, but when we pull your credit, you have a 580. There may be some things on your credit score that may only need a couple letters to be written. And once those letters are written, then that creditor has to reply back to the credit bureau within 30 days. And if not, a lot of times that item on your credit report is dropped off and your credit score goes up. So it kind of depends on the credit, excuse me, the loan product that the lender actually puts you under. Because again, the higher your credit score, the better chance you are of getting a good loan product with a lower interest rate.
Yeah, that's always been a concern. But for me, when I think about it, it's a concern for me
Yeah,
because I want the best interest rate that I can have when I get a home. So, do y'all help people who have VA loans as well?
absolutely. And one thing about a VA loan, for any veterans on the line or just listening in, with a VA loan, most credit scores on a VA loan, I think you have to have a 640 credit score. But I have to go back and check that. But I think it's 640 credit score. But whatever the credit score is relative to the lender, it's 100% loan. So whatever the value of the house is, or the sales price of the house is, the lender will loan up to the sales price. But you still have to have, some monies for closing costs.
Hmm.
But in terms of the loan amount is 100% loan.
Hmm. Do y'all help with loan with that down payment assistance? I hear a lot of people talking about that. I'm very leery about that because some people say, "Oh, you can get a down payment assistance or closing assistance, and you don't have to pay it back." Is that true?
Most cases that is true. And there are programs out there where like the cities may have down payment assistance monies available,
Hmm.
and you'll hear the term DPA, which is down payment assistance. And
Hmm.
a lot of times those funds do not have to be paid back, especially for the legitimate down payment assistance programs. And we know all of the legitimate down payment assistance programs. A lot of cities have them, and actually, for those who are listening in from the Michigan area, especially Detroit, National Faith manages the down payment assistance money for the city of Detroit.
Okay.
So if you're getting down payment assistance money from the city of Detroit, that money is signed off from National Faith Homebuyers for Wayne County. Um, and again, I would say anyone who's listening, one of the first things I would do is sit down with a certified HUD counselor and help walk through this process, especially if it's your first time.
Hmm. And y'all have that, correct?
We are that. We are HUD certified, and we've been HUD certified for over 25 years. And we've been doing this a very long time. We have a great relationship with the HUD, and we keep our certification up. We have great counselors who are all our counselors are certified. I'm not a counselor. Again, my title is executive director, so I help run the Atlanta office. But the counselors in our office, they are licensed and certified by HUD.
And I just posted one of the counselors that I was provided, so you can email her and you can contact her. And I don't want to mess up her last name, but her name is Cheryl.
Cheryl Fields, Fil Fields.
Hmm. And you can also call the office. So I'm putting it in the comments. So y'all, if you need to call or if you need to contact her, the information is in the comments. Okay.
Yeah,
So
I see one person asking where the office is. If you just call the office or send Cheryl an email, because almost everything we do now is virtual.
mhm,
Um, then occasionally, and I'll let Cheryl speak on that once you speak to her. But occasionally, she'll see someone, doing a face-to-face meeting. But for the most part, a lot of what we do is over the phone or through Zoom, and we get as much done through that process as been face-to-face. But again, there are opportunities to do face-to-face. But I'll let you talk to Cheryl about that.
right. And while we're talking about that, y'all see that Q code right there with that handsome old man, as he called himself on here, where it said home ownership is achievable for everyone. That's part of their mission. So hit the Q code right now. That gets you to the website. It shows you the scheduling and it gives you all the information. Even you people in Detroit, or if you're in the Michigan area, click on that Q code. It will take you where you need to go, just as well as the people in Atlanta. It'll send you where you need to go, and it has a lot of information on there. It's worth going and looking at. So
Yeah,
scan the
and you know
Q
what,
code.
too? And I would advise them, once they get into the website, to go ahead
Mm-hmm,
and sign up for the class because it's first come, first serve. And I'll tell you, we average, it'll be 300 to 500 people to actually sign up,
mm-hmm,
but we'll typically cap it off at 150 people because it's virtual.
right.
So for those of us who've been on Zoom calls a lot, to manage 150 people
That's a
is
lot.
a task within itself. So we're gonna cap it at 150 people. So I advise you, as soon as you hit that QR code, to go ahead and sign up. There's an application that you have to complete, but you have time between now and June 24th to complete it all. And actually, it's a 20-page application, but most of those pages are just signatures. You're only going to provide information just on the first couple pages. So don't let that scare you. Don't let that stop you. Go ahead and sign up to get on that call.
Do you recommend? Because I just thought about it. There might be some people that are in the process of buying a home. Would you recommend them taking this class just so they can understand something that they don't understand that might not be being said to them? Or
Absolutely, because at the end of the day, knowledge is power.
mm-hmm,
And because we are HUD certified, we can't steer. Meaning, we can't just say, well, you need to go to this bank, or you need to go to this particular loan officer, or you need to go to this real estate agent. We really can't do that. So what we have to do is we give you three options to choose from based on your situation. So we look at your profile and we say, okay, based on your situation, we believe these three lenders here have programs that best fit you. And
mm-hmm,
here they are. You choose which one you want to go to.
because
And
you
we'll
still have
still
that
hand
faith,
hold you through that process. And
right?
let's say, for instance, you reach out to one of the lenders and you reach out to that lender again, and that lender does not call you back, you
Mm-hmm,
let us know, and we will refer you to another lender. But we're not going to leave you stranded with that. We're going to walk with you
mm-hmm,
from the time you are assigned to that counselor
mm-hmm.
until the time you go to closing at the closing table and sign your last document. We're going to hold your hand through the entire process.
That's a great thing. Toyana asks, many have result, which many people have resorted to lease purchase due to having credit issues. Do you feel that this is a better option for those with credit issues or just to undergo your program?
I think you have to look at what you want. If you tell yourself, I want a house, I want my own home. Then wherever you are today, start where you are. It may be a lease program where you are now. You may be living in an apartment. You may be leasing a house. That piece doesn't matter where you are today. The question is, where do you want to be? So if you want to be in a home, then my suggestion is start the process, because that process, you don't know where you are until we actually sit down with you from the counseling standpoint, pull your credit and see where you are. It still may take you 6 months. It still may take you a year, depending on your credit situation. But you got to get started. And then once you get started, you have to be committed to the commitment,
Mm-hmm.
because everyone's situation is different. And then what happens is we notice that sometimes people will look at their situation and it's pretty bad. We'll help them through the process and work with them, and then they get frustrated and say, well, it's taking too long. Well, it's taken so long because you came to us very damaged.
That part.
So imagine you come to us as a wrecked car and you're totaled. From the insurance company standpoint, we're trying to untotal you and get you prepared and get you back fully functioning. And that can and sometimes will take time.
You do. And I was just asked, do you also help people rent to own?
Um, we work with those individuals who want to own a home. If you want to own a home, that's our mission. Our mission is to help anyone who wants their own home and want to follow the process of getting a home. As far as helping you to rent, that's not something we do. We help you clean up your credit to buy a house, but
Mhm.
right now, we have a lane, and we're good at that lane, and we try to stay in that lane.
Understandable. Yeah, that's understandable. Um, I was thinking about, your system of how you help people. What about your foreclosed assistance?
Mhm.
I noticed that y'all have that on your site.
Yeah, so let's look at that in a couple of ways. So let's say, for instance, you're in the process of going through a foreclosure. Well, we can help work through that process, because our counselors, they know the lingo when especially when you're talking to these lenders and the foreclosure department. So we're able to help you through that process. And secondarily, let's say, for instance, you've gone through a foreclosure
Mm-hmm.
and now you want to buy again. But as long as you've been out of that foreclosure for at least 3 years, most lenders, you can qualify for a mortgage again. And again, this is why you want to go through the process. Everyone has a lot of questions. I'm telling you, the first thing to do is really just take that class. It's a 4-hour class. Sit in on that class, get assigned to a counselor, and that counselor, any questions that you have relative to anything you're trying to do from buying a house, we can help you with that.
That's good. I think that would be the perfect start. And as we talking about perfect starts, if you haven't, you need to contact Kareem. He wants to be a part of your team because the journey to generational wealth starts with him with insurance, where he can come and be a part of your family and he will help you pick the right type of insurance that you need, for your needs. You might have a new baby. You might have a parent, whoever. You might be having a new spouse you want to get insurance for. Um, Click the Q code and contact him. His information is there, and he will be willing to help you. He works with Global Life. He has a wealth of information. This young man, he will take the time that it is needed in order to help you. So go for it. That's about all I can tell you is go for it and talk to him. He was on the show before. You can go back into the on the Facebook and you can pull that feed if you want to learn more because he's there. Um, what is Lonnie? What about your housing counseling? Is that something that's different?
Well, we look at it from the standpoint because we've been where most people who are listening in and who started the process of buying their first home. In order to be a good counselor, you have to like people. Uh,
Not
that's first. And then you have to be empathetic to people. You got to be compassionate to people. You have to be a good listener. But
hmm
then at the end of the day, you have to tell people the truth. And sometimes the truth is a hard pill to swallow. Some of us don't want to hear it. And
hmm
because we don't want to hear it, then we're looking, how can we circumvent the truth, circumvent the process, and get to our end goal quicker? In this process, there are steps to buying a house.
Right.
You cannot skip the steps and think you're going to get a house. That's in your name, that has a mortgage attached to it. It just doesn't work that way.
You
And
can't
so
rush it. Yes.
our counselors, they are they're teachers, but at the same time they're students, so they can listen and they can teach. But
hmm
at the end of the day, it's you, the person on the other side of the table. You have to be committed to the commitment.
hmm
If you're committed to the commitment and you follow the steps that the counselors tell you, you're more than guaranteed to get a house. Again, it's the process. Everybody's process is different. So if someone comes along and tells you, well, I got my house in 30 days. Well, that only means that everything for them lined up. That
Right.
means they had the income, they had low debt, they had the credit, everything just lined up for them. But
hmm
everybody's situation is not going to be the same.
True.
And this is where the counselors really come in at, because the counselors, they're going to help navigate that. And if you do what the counselors tell you, I promise you that you will be a homeowner sooner or later if you stick with the process.
hmm That's true. I noticed that you said your services are free. So is this her way when she founded this company of giving back to the community in order to help them? Because some people say everything in life is not free, but you know, information is.
Yeah. And the thing about it is, and to your point, so let's qualify free and quantify free. So
hmm
from the free standpoint, it's no monetary cost
Right.
to you, but then there's a time cost. The time cost is you providing the counselors all the paperwork and all the documentation they need, and being able to sit on calls with them and meet with them so
hmm
they can teach you these things, because they got to teach you about the budgeting. You know, they have to teach you about the shopping for the house.
Right.
So it's so much that goes into it. And but that's one of the reasons why we opted to do this, free of monetary charge to the clients. And we're compassionate about this. And our funding partners, they understand this as well.
hmm
So our funding come from our funding partners. This is why all we ask of you is you got to be committed to the commitment. And
hmm
you have to do what you say you're going to do based on what we ask you to do. So
hmm
if we ask you, we need your bank statements for the last 2 months, your check stubs for the last two pay periods. And if you're self-employed, we need your income tax return for the last 2 years. If we ask you for those things on June the 1st, you can't wait to December to get it to us.
That's true. That is so true.
Because of the time element involved with this. You said you wanted a house.
hmm
So that's what a commitment to commitment is.
Alois is asking, can you have your own house, your own home built the way you want?
Absolutely. Again, once you get qualified for a mortgage, then the lender will put you under a loan product based on what you qualify for. So if you qualify for say a $500,000 house, based on all the information that you've given us and we've given to the bank, and
hmm
you qualify for a $500,000 house, well, the bank doesn't care if you build it from the ground up or if you buy an existing home. It's the product that they put you under.
Right. So, her saying that. So, what about land? If you want the land and to build, would that loan help pay for the land as well as building the house, or is that something they have to go and buy the house? I mean, the land first, and then try to get a mortgage with it.
What they call like a dual closing. And so what a dual closing is, you find the land, it's one loan, but the
Hmm.
first part of the loan is to pay for the land. So let's say, for instance, I'll go back to the $500,000 example.
Okay.
So let's say, for instance, the bank said, well, you qualify for 500,000 and you want to do a construction loan. Well, the first part of the construction loan is the acquisition of the land.
Hmm.
Let's say the land cost 100,000. So that's 100,000 out of that 500,000. Now the construction of that loan cannot be more than 400,000.
Right.
So that's your 400,000 plus your 100,000 for the acquisition of the land. That's your $500,000 loan.
Okay. Pretty. That's pretty awesome.
Yes.
That is pretty awesome. And guess what, y'all? Y'all know about pretty awesome. Um, this lady right here. This is Liz Galore Brands. When I tell y'all she creates something magical, she is a chemist with her marinades. You need to hit this Q code, scan it, try her marinades. I told y'all about that Texas potato. I was hoping that she would just go on and open up a restaurant, because when I tell you that's a whole meal you can share with two people, it's a whole meal, and it is phenomenal. You don't sleep on her. Her wings are great. I mean, it's nothing that her marinades can't do. So contact her, scan the Q code, and create some magic with her. Lonnie.
Yes, ma'am.
With the different locations and everything, and your goal is to help people. Um, what other resources do y'all help people have um, to receive in your fast track workshop? Or do y'all
Well,
still do that every month?
we do it once a month. And if you go to nationalfaith.org, that's nationalfaith.org, the website, you can actually pull up the calendar.
Mm-hmm.
And what we do is we create the calendar for it, so you can see the calendar for the entire year.
Mm-hmm.
So if you miss June's workshop, then just be prepared for July's workshop. But in that workshop, we'll have on in that 4.5 hour span, and again, we'll have the subject matter experts. So everyone that you will really need as it relates to getting that home, again, whether it's the loan officer, the real estate agent, the title company, the insurance agent, um, all those components and all those subject matter experts, they'll be there to teach the class. So let's say, for instance, you go through the class and you like all of the people that actually taught that particular class, and you say, you know what, I like this person at this bank
Mm-hmm.
because I like how they talk. I like how they share information. If you let your counsel know that's the lender that you want, then we'll plug you in with that lender. We just can't steer you. But if you say that's who you want, then we will make arrangements for you to meet that loan officer. Let's say, for instance, you don't have a real estate agent, and the real estate agent that taught the class that you sat in on, he said, you know what, I really like that agent. I'm in Atlanta. The real estate agent is in Atlanta, and I just like how that real estate agent spoke. That's who I want as my agent.
Mm-hmm.
We will make sure that you meet that agent. So again, our job is to help you move through the process as swiftly as possible and connect you to the right people in that process. Our job is to get you prepared so we can hand you off to those individuals that do what they need to do to help get you now. We have to get you qualified,
Mm-hmm.
and they do the rest.
Okay. Toyana has a question. She said, can you speak to the panel about what being house poor means and the steps in which your organization takes to help home buyers avoid this?
So that's a really good question.
And
So essentially, what she means is a house poor. That
mm-hmm.
means you have this wonderful house and you just love this house. But once you pay your house mortgage at the end of the month, you have nothing left. So all of your income primarily, or the most of your income, is going toward the house.
Above means.
Living above means.
Mhm.
So how we can help with that is we sit you down and we help you create a budget, because it's not what you make, it's what you keep.
Mhm.
So I give an example. When the credit counselor goes through and walks with you through your budget, they want to know every dime you spend, because they want you to know that every dime you spend.
Uh-oh. Are you there? He froze on us, y'all. Okay, y'all, we're gonna give him a time to come back. Um, but that was a good question. Here you go. All right.
Yeah.
You was about to give too many of the good deeds. She said, "Tell it, Lonnie, Mr. Lonnie." And I think it's his internet connection. Here you go. There you go.
Okay, son, you back?
Yeah, you back. It was you.
It
She
was
said,
me.
"Yeah, your internet."
Oh, okay. But you know what? I can still see myself. I'm just talking. But but
Uh,
but so essentially, when you're sitting down with that counselor is looking at every dollar you spend for the entire month. So you can see exactly where your money is going. So if
mhm,
you if you're making $10,000 a month, but you're spending $6,000 a month, where's that $6,000 a month going? And that'll help you create a situation where now you see where all your money is going. That can help you get out of that being house poor, if you know where your
house
money is.
tour, check the check, check the Sunday. Are you there?
You can hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, I
Hmm.
can hear and see you clearly.
Okay. But yeah, that's a good question. I mean, a lot of people do that though in this world. So you're saying that if someone owns a home and they're living house poor and they want to get out this situation, y'all have a class for that.
We have a class for it, but at the same time, what they can do, they can literally sit down themselves
Hmm.
and see how much money am I bringing in every month, and you just do it for 1 month. And that'll
Hmm.
give you an idea where all your money is going. Because once you can
Right.
identify where all your money is going, you don't really need a counselor to help you with that, although we will.
Hmm.
But it's just taking an initiative to say, okay, I'm going to look at every dime I spend, and then I'm going to see what can I cut out.
Hmm. So I know y'all you have the foreclosure, but what is your protection workshop? Is that still with foreclosure?
That's pretty much on the foreclosure side.
Oh,
So
okay.
so if you're actually going through a foreclosure and you
Hmm.
need help navigating that process with your lender, then we'll help you navigate that process with your lender, so you won't go completely through the foreclosure process and lose your home.
Okay. So I think that we covered the majority of your services that y'all have, and that's a lot. I think that's a great thing at the fact that you have these different services. You know, the down payment assistance, you help with that. Your prevention workshop, foreclosures, the home buying process. Um, Tell them about your new programs. I notice you have new programs as well.
Well, a couple of the new program that we are getting ready to implement is the heirs property piece.
Mm-hmm.
I think that may be what you're mentioning.
Mm-hmm.
And what the heirs property is, you have a lot of properties in especially the minority neighborhoods. It may have been your grandparents' house, your great grandparents' house. Those houses were left to somebody.
Mm-hmm.
If And a lot of times, if there's not a will in place or some type of a document to transfer ownership from one person to the next, once the person passes, if there's nothing in place, then that house goes into what they call the court system or probate.
Mm-hmm.
So what we're wanting to do now is start teaching people about how to protect themselves from losing their house once they die or pass on. If again, if their documentation and paperwork is not in place as to what does the will say, who gets this house upon the expiration of the person that owns that house. If there's not a will in place, it goes into probate. And that
Right.
can be tied up for a very long time because that's when it'll cost you so much money from hiring an attorney to all of the stuff that's necessary. Sometimes it takes years, and sometimes it gets to a point where the family member just says, forget it, the courts take it, and then of course they'll end up selling that house to somebody else. And so now you've lost all of that equity that's in that house, and it's gone on to somebody else because the person that died, their paperwork wasn't in place.
You're right, because when you said it, it brought back memories of this lady came in when I worked at the hospital, and she was crying because her mom's house was hung up in probate, and we also had put a lien because of the medical bills. And a lot of
Absolutely.
people don't know that you can have a medical lien placed on your house, and that was the only thing that was holding it up in probate. But she did not have the cash money to pay for the medical bills that were left behind.
Wow.
So
And,
yeah,
and
they
it, you know
brought
what?
back
And it
those
happens.
things.
It happens all the time. And right now, there's something like $8 billion worth of properties in the black communities across the country that's in probate.
Yeah,
It's just tied up.
wow. And that's something that I guess that's a teaching lesson right there. So I'm hoping everybody who heard this information he just gave, if you take the class, you can able to pass that along so other people will know, hey, tell the elders or even you, fix it to where you leave this house with someone so the courts don't get it. Because why would we do that? And when we always talking about home ownership, we got to do our due diligence with that. That's a great piece that you brought out. I like that.
Yeah, because I mean, think about this. We're talking about legacy.
Hmm.
And so we start talking about legacy and generational wealth. At the end of the day, God is not making no more land, no more land. So when
Hmm.
you talk about generational wealth, typically generational wealth is built through real estate.
Right.
When you're able to, say, for instance, set up a trust and put the house in trust. So once it's in that trust, and then you can pass to the next generation, but you have to have your documentation in place where it
Hmm.
can't ever be taken out of trust because you want
Right.
to be able to be protected generation after generation after generation. And so other communities do that. We're just now really learning about it, but it's one thing to learn about it, it's another thing to act upon it.
And the action is what needs to be applied. That's where the power is at.
Absolutely.
That's where it's
Absolutely.
at. It is. And when we say action and power, I need y'all to take a little action because this is my favorite business. They have been endorsed by Exquisite Taste, and Father's Day is right around the corner. Every dad, every man wants to smell good. So you need to shop with KTB Enterprise Unlimited because luxury is justified. When I tell you whatever you looking for, whatever you want, you can have whatever you like. And they have it. If you want to try a new cologne, they have it. He is the concierge. We call him the Black Macy's because that's basics. He has it all. Everything that you want, any colognes, any perfumes. They even have a makeup, if you like MAC, Bobbi Brown, Naked, Too Faced It, just to name a few, they have it. So click the Q code, go to the website. Even if you don't see it on the website, call them or DM them on Facebook, Instagram. I promise you, they are worth it. They are worth the drive. Their customer service is superior. And if you need a class about how to make sure that you're picking the right scents that speaks for you, because every man needs a signature cologne that speaks of him. And when he leaves a room, guess whose mind he's that has him on his mind? It's some female because she smelt him. So get that signature cologne for your man, and or for your dad, or for your significant other. So there have it. It's not to get them off to somebody else. It's just the fact that you can say, "Oh, I did that." Okay. Don't let your self-esteem get in the way. But KTB Enterprise is the place to be. Scan that Q code. I promise you, when you sit down with this young man, and you'll be impressed. I have a couple of signatures that I bought that I know nobody else here has it. That's in my circle, and I like it that way. So scan the Q code, and I promise you, you will love it. Lonnie,
That's me.
what you doing for Father's Day?
Um, you know where I am in my life now. I don't have any children, but where
Oh,
I am
okay.
in my life now, every day is a Father's Day to me.
Mm-hmm.
Every day is a gift. I don't take no day for granted now.
Mm-hmm.
So every day is Mother's Day, every day is Father's Day, and every day is a great day.
If you've taught somebody's child, if you've been in somebody's kid's life, or uncle or whatever, then you are a father. Father's not defined by having a birth in a child. It's about making an impact in a child's life. So,
I'll take that because as part of Kappa Alpha Psi, the fraternity that I'm been a member of for some time now. We have about 100 young men that we mentor.
mm-hmm.
And we do that every year. Every year we have a lot. And to your point, they're like our kids. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So thank you for that. I appreciate it.
We have to give dues where it's supposed to be. Everybody else. I know a woman. She has plenty of children, and she has none of her own, but she own a daycare, and she does a fabulous job year
Right.
in and year out. She's been doing this for 40 years. So she's a mother to all,
Yeah.
and so it works out. You have to use your gifts the way you use them. And so, do you have any books that you want to give the tell people about that they might could read that will help them toward their financial or even just knowledge?
There's a couple of books. There's one book in particular that was given to me over 40 years ago, and it's called The Game of Life and How to Play It by
Hmm.
Florence Scovel Shinn. It's
Okay.
called The Game of Life and How to Play It. That's one.
Hmm.
The second one is called As a Man Thinketh by James Allen.
I have
And
that
both of
book.
these, yeah,
That
you
book.
have that one. So James Allen wrote that book like in 1921, over 100 years ago. Florence Scovel Shinn wrote her book, The Game of Life and How to Play It in 1925. Two great books. And then
Hmm.
the third book I would say is Who Moved My Cheese. I
I
can't think of the author's
just
name, but
had
the name of the book is called Who Moved My Cheese.
that's the book I always read. We just did a show on Move My Cheese at the end of the year. I mean, at the end of last year, because that book it speaks. You when you identify yourself as one of the characters in there, that everybody done been a him, and they had an
Exactly.
aha moment, and now they out here getting it, just like Scratch
Exactly.
and Sparrow. They out here getting it. So that book there, I tell everybody, even get your kids to read that book. If you don't want to read it, go watch the movie. But I prefer you to read it. So
Absolutely.
they have a little movie, and the movie's free. All you do is go on YouTube. But that's one of the most little books that it don't take long to read, and it impact you in such a way if you just open your mind.
Yep. And that's why I like the three books that I just mentioned because you can read those books in one night
Hmm.
and probably just a couple of hours actually. But they're so impactful that they speak to you if you're listening, but you have to be in a mental space to receive it. And if you are, you'll receive it.
And I might bring that on here and let and talk about a man thinking and the game of life. I'm gonna read that myself. I'm gonna put that. I got that already in my little think list, so I can go and get that book. So because I love to read.
But but I'm gonna tell you a little bit about the game of life and how to play it, and it's similar to as a man thinketh, and basically they're just saying, what is it are you telling yourself?
Hmm.
Because whatever you're telling yourself, whatever you put behind I am, that's what you become. And I ask this question all the time, and so I'm gonna ask this question, and for the people who are listening in, and Sonia, you think about this too. Look around the room where you are, and look at everything in that room. Whether it's the microphone, Sonia, in front of you, if you're driving, it's a steering wheel, your car, your clothes, your bedding, your office space. Look around everything that's man-made. What is the one thing they all have in common? Sonia, I'm gonna let you try to answer that question.
Because it's man-made.
No, that's not it.
I'm asking. I'm just saying your question. Your
Yeah,
question.
yeah, yeah.
Because it's man.
So
It's usable.
what is it they all have in common? Everything that you see, whatever you see in front of you right now, you look around you, whatever you see, what is the one common denominator? What is the one thing they all have in common?
Usable.
Let me tell you what that is. The one thing they all have in common is they all started in someone's imagination.
That's true.
So everything you see starts with a thought.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna circle that back to becoming a homeowner. If you can see in your mind's eye when you close your eyes of you being a homeowner, keep that thought. Wake up with that thought. Get a picture of the house that you want to live in, and get a
Mm-hmm.
picture of all the furniture that you want to create your vision board.
They should have it. The majority of the people that's on here that's watching, they should have it. We did that in January. So if you didn't put it on there, you need to put it on there.
I wish you could see my vision board. And I update my vision board because my thoughts about what I want in life changes.
That's
But
true.
if you really want to be a homeowner, put on your vision board and then you look at that 3 to 4 times a day, 10 times a day if you need to.
Mm-hmm.
Look at it every day, because if you can see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand.
That's true. That's where you put the intention out there and it comes and manifests in the atmosphere. That's all you have to
Absolutely.
do. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
You have to know. Everything has to align. And you have to know that you know that you know that you know.
And you can't tell everybody your dream. You can't tell everybody that you want a
Ooh,
home, because some people who've never owned a home before will try to tell you you don't deserve the house, you can't get it. So you got to negate all that. So don't tell any, because if God wanted everybody to know what's inside your mind, he'd have put it on Zoom call.
That's true. That is so true.
He didn't. So
Yeah.
you and God, talk to God about your dream. Let your dream manifest itself.
Okay. So I guess you gave your 2 cents tonight.
Oh, that's a dollar worth right there.
That's $1 worth. You land? Did you land the jumbo plane? Lonnie, I want to say thank you for coming out and being on the show today. It was a pleasure having you and everyone. Like I said, I put it in the comments and I'm going to post all the links to their social media and everything. And if you have any questions, reach out. I mean, they're there. They're there to help you get where you need to be in life. That's their mission. So, like I said, I'm going to put this Q code up one more time so you can know that home ownership is achievable for everybody. Just go to National Faith Homebuyers. They are there for you. I feel like they have the patience to help you help yourself. I'm gonna say it again. I feel like they can help you help yourself. So if you're helping yourself and you listen to what's being given, you achieve where you're trying to get to, which is home ownership. So we're on every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 p.m. Central Time. Next week, we go back to Let's Bring It to the Table. And y'all, we got a show for you. Panel who's on that's on Let's Bring It to the Table. I need y'all to call me. You know who you are. I need you to call me because I want to talk to you about some things before we go on. So I'm putting it out there so y'all can't say I didn't tell you because I told you just then. I told you. So we're gonna get on. We got we got one video we're gonna watch and we're gonna discuss it. Okay. So we will see y'all next week on Wednesday, and then we're gonna come back to the Knowledge Power Hour because we're about to go into phase two. We done did everything for personal home ownership to getting your credit, talking about life insurance, everything from the bottom to where we at right now, which is having the homeowners, the national faith home buyers help you become a homeowner. So with all that being said, now we're going to phase two. We're going to talk about these businesses. We're going to talk about business credit. We're going to start from the bottom. We're going to work it to the top. So knowledge is power, and I have a lineup that's coming. And not only that, because I had to skip around, because I have some doctors that'll be coming on. Because financially free in 23, health is wealth. So we're going to have some doctors coming on that's going to talk about your health being your wealth. And so whatever questions you're going to have in July, bring them to the table. Okay, so we can do that for Knowledge Power Hour. But for the month of June, we're going to start getting our gears together. We're going to do Let's Bring It to the Table. And then after that, and we do the health thing in July, August, we're going to hit the business. And we're gonna get in there and get the deets. If you haven't started a business, you're thinking about starting a business, start preparing yourself and get everything that you need together. Or you can even call me and ask questions. I can help you get so far if you're willing to take what I say and move with it. Okay. So I have some people that's gonna be here to help. So with that being said, as I always say, knowledge is not power unless you are plan to action with it. You have to apply that action with it in order for it to move and manifest. We're not trying to leave the graveyard with billions of dollars as our forefathers. We're trying to do billions here on earth so we can enjoy and we can share so everybody else can get out here and get it. So I leave that on the table for you all, and I bid you all good night.